new details in the double homicide of legendary Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. This hour, their son Nick, who police say is responsible for the killings, is still in custody, and we're told that investigators could hand their case over to prosecutors as soon as today.
The key questions right now: is there direct evidence that links him to his parents' deaths? Were these attacks planned? And what happened in the hours leading up to the killings? CNN's Stephanie Elam is live in downtown Los Angeles. Stephanie, what are you learning?
Well, we have an update for you, Boris and Brianna, that we now know that Nick Reiner will not be appearing in court today. We heard from his lawyer, Alan Jackson, that he has to be medically cleared every day before he can be transported from jail to court. He was not cleared to come today, and at this point we're told it will be day to day before he'll be able to come to court, so it may not even be tomorrow. We do not know yet. At the same time, though, we do know that the LAPD was expected to take their case to the district attorney's office today so that they could then begin to put together their charges and put together a charging document. I believe that part is still ongoing, that part continues, but no sight of Nick in court today. Now, just to look back at how much has transpired here in these last couple of days, it was Sunday afternoon that CNN has been told that the sister of Nick Reiner discovered her parents, and then the police came. It wasn't until 9 o'clock at night that he was arrested and booked into jail early Monday morning. So this is where we stand on this case right now. Obviously, he's being held without bail in this case, and the fact that he does have a lawyer just so that there's some sort of support for Nick Reiner at this point. It's also worth noting on this timeline that Saturday night, the night before the Reiners were found murdered, Nick Reiner and Rob Reiner got into a heated argument at a Christmas party thrown by Conan O'Brien. The mother was also at this party. Michelle Reiner was also at that party as well. Unclear if the family all left together or not. So we're starting to get a little more details on this timeline here. But the biggest note that we've gotten, as many of us were expecting that we might see Nick Reiner in court today, we will not be seeing that. And it's day to day whether he'll be here tomorrow. Brianna and Boris.
Yeah, really a telling detail there, Stephanie. And in the meantime, more friends and former colleagues have been paying tribute to the Reiners. How are they being remembered?
There's so much love for both Rob and Michelle Reiner, and people are really conveying what they meant to them, how much their humanitarian efforts meant to them. You've got even Jane Fonda coming out today on Instagram saying that they were wonderful, caring, smart, funny, generous people who are always coming up with ideas on how to make the world better and kinder. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger calling Rob Reiner a creative genius and a wonderful friend. Guillermo del Toro, a staggering loss is how he said the death of Rob Reiner has hit him. And Paul McCartney says they will always have fond memories. And Stephen King said, you always stood by me. You look at this, it's people who are across Hollywood. It is political leaders who have all been talking about how they're devastated and heartbroken. Across the board, you're hearing people who are just in shock that Rob and Michelle Reiner are gone.
It is so shocking. Stephanie Elam, thank you for the report.
The Los Angeles District Attorney could bring charges against Nick Reiner, the son of legendary director Rob Reiner. Police say the 32-year-old, the way they put it, is responsible for the death of both of his parents, Rob Reiner and producer Michelle Singer Reiner. The couple was found dead in their Los Angeles home on Sunday. Nick Reiner was booked into jail on suspicion of murder. It's up to the DA's office to charge him with the specific charges. Here's how the authorities put it.
We have our robbery homicide division handling the investigation. They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case.
Let's talk more about this. Joining us right now is former federal prosecutor Elise Adamson. It's good to see you again. What happens now with Nick Reiner?
Yeah, Kate, so they're still at the early stages, but Nick Reiner's legal exposure is enormous. So right now, Nick Reiner has just been arrested on suspicion of murder, but we know that they have at least probable cause for that arrest. What's going to happen now is that prosecutors are going to be evaluating the case and probably as early as this morning, Kate, filing charges, formal charges. This means that there is enough evidence to continue this case. And we're expecting that they will be murder charges. And the only question right now is whether they are going to be second-degree murder charges or first-degree murder charges, which of course has bearing on the ultimate legal penalty.
LAPD, the wording used in its statement yesterday was that Nick Reiner was responsible for the deaths of his parents. Is that language legally relevant or specific, or suggest anything about what investigators have that they have not released publicly?
Well, Kate, it's so hard to speculate at this time. Investigators have been tight-lipped, and that is completely normal when an ongoing investigation is still in its early stages. That being said, at least to me, and this is the speculation I told you we should not be doing, could mean that he potentially confessed to this crime. It could mean that there is overwhelming evidence such that they feel very, very confident that this is the perpetrator. I don't think this is really a case of who done it. I think this is really a case of why did he do it? And that's why I mentioned before, Kate, the question is going to be, is this first degree murder or second degree murder? First degree murder, of course, suggesting that this was planned and premeditated. Second degree murder being more spontaneous. And those are the details that hopefully we will have a little bit more of once the DA makes their charging decisions today.
Because I was going to ask you what your big question is that you would hope to have answered when the DA formally files these charges. But maybe the most important thing is, what do investigators, what does that office need to do in order to establish if it was premeditated or spontaneous? What do you expect that they are doing right now behind the scenes?
Yeah, Kate, what they are doing is they are taking every piece of evidence that is immediately available to them and trying to piece it together and see if this was a planned attack. Now, what I will say, Kate, is there is reporting that there was an argument between Nick Reiner and his father the day before the bodies were found. Please believe that investigators are interviewing people who were at that party. I believe it was at Conan O'Brien's house, to hear what was said, what was the state of mind, because the difference between second degree murder and first degree murder, Kate, is state of mind. And obviously we don't have a window into the mind of the defendant, and here that's Nick Reiner. So we have to use circumstantial evidence to piece that together. And so authorities are going to be talking to folks surrounding that party, the family, looking at the household, and also, Kate, it's the manner of death. We don't know exactly what happened. Of course, there have been reports, but we want to wait until that becomes official. And so manner of death will also be very helpful in determining whether this was planned or spontaneous attack.
Elise, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate your time.